What's up, y'all? I'm just out here on my regular trail. This is a few miles down the road from where I live at, which is really handy. But the bike that I'm riding is also street legal. It's that the RPS Hawk 250. It's nothing special. It's not a Honda 450 or anything like that, but it gets me out on the trails. As you can see in the videos, it handles the trails quite well. Again, I'm not doing any motocross jumping or anything crazy with it, but she'll get me out here, she'll hit the trails, and mostly I bought it to ride with the kids. As I'm sure you've seen on my channel, my youngest son has a 50cc. My older son has a 125. His is still, you gotta fix a couple things on it. Every time he takes it out, he seems to break something new. But we're gonna get his fixed so you can see his out here riding too. I think there's a couple videos of him hitting some little jumps. But hopefully we can get all three of us out here riding one of these days. Get a GoPro going on all three bikes and we can catch all the footage for you guys. But out here today, I'm just out by myself, as I can get a little bit rowdier than I would with the kids, and enjoy the footage. I'm enjoying my time. Welcome back, y'all. For this stretch of the ride, I'm just gonna cruise a little bit so I can talk to y'all. So I originally bought this dirt bike just so that I could get into it, because my stepson was talking about wanting to do motocross and wanting to run dirt bikes. And me growing up, I was always into four-wheelers, cars, trucks, mud trucks. Those were my forte. I rode two wheels. I've had a Honda Shadow 750 American Classic since I was 18, 19, and I've been riding that thing for years. So I've always enjoyed two wheels, but I kept them on the pavement. I picked this thing up. I didn't want to spend a fortune because I wasn't sure how much I'd be riding with it. So I bought this from Orion Power Sports online. It took them a couple months to get it to me because it's Chinese. But all in all, I think I paid 1,700 bucks to have this thing delivered in a crate to my door. Now don't get me wrong, Chinese engineers are not exactly the best at what they do. So it required some modifications here and there. I modified the airbox, new sprockets for better low-end power, and some other stuff with the valve lashing inside the motor. I can also do videos if y'all are interested in seeing those on how to do those modifications, but it's nothing too complicated, to be completely honest. I'm somewhat mechanically inclined. I do most of my own work, but as long as you can watch a YouTube video, you can follow the steps, you can do every modification to this bike that makes it run great. The only other thing to keep in mind, a lot of these Chinese bikes, when they're sent out with a lot of loose bolts. So you get yourself a nice big jug of Loctite Blue. Don't buy the red stuff, you won't be able to get the bike back apart. The Loctite Blue, you put that on all the screws and bolts and everything. Basically unbolts all the plastic bearings, any of the screws and bolts that are easily accessible, especially the smaller ones holding on turn signals and stuff like that. You put Loctite Blue on all those screws and tighten them back up, snug them up, and you don't got to worry about all their bolts falling out. So I mean, I've done all that to this bike. And as you can see, I've only got about 300 to 400 miles on this thing. So I don't ride it all the time, but the riding I do is what you see here. Me riding off-road, hitting mud, water, dirt, sand, even a couple small jumps. So it's a 400 rough miles, 300 rough miles. After the break-in period, obviously, about 100 miles that I did, with 2 oil changes during that. So, all in all, I gotta say, for being a relatively cheap compared to Japanese bikes, Chinese bike, she holds up great for what I need her to do. And to top it all off, it's an enduro, it's street legal. So they sent me a title with it, I took it down to the DMV and I got a tag put on it. I can drive this thing on the road, mind you. I'm not gonna take it on any highways. Top speed's about, I believe it says it goes like 65, but that engine really starts to whine at about 55. So I don't really push it much more than that. I'll take it on some local roads, but mostly just to drive it to where I'm going off-roading at, which is a huge perk than having to trailer it every time I want to go somewhere, especially if it's somewhere close by, like my little riding trails back here. But I've gotten to ride with the kids a lot with this thing, and for the $1,600 plus the modifications that I did to it, that some of them were necessary, some of them weren't, I'm all in with gear and everything probably just over $2,000. And for the amount of riding I've gotten to do with my kids, teaching them how to ride, teaching them how to go off roads, getting them outdoors, getting them off the screens, getting them off the computers, it is 1,000,000% worth it. I mean, I could have spent 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand gone with some name brands. I mean, I could have even went KTM. I was looking at those for 14 or 15 grand. But this, $2,000, it does what I want. I'm not planning on jumping the bike 30 feet in the air. I really have zero desire to do that. My everyday job, I own a business. I mean, my everyday job is using my arms, my legs, my head, my eyes. And I don't really feel like losing any one of those and jeopardizing my income. So I'm just looking to come out, have a good time. A lot of times I'll ride out here and I'll park up by my resting tree, as I call it, that you guys saw just a moment ago. And I'll just chill out there for 20, 30 minutes. Just kind of relax, where it's nice and quiet, away from concrete civilization and people and a lot of the stupidity in the world. Primarily keeping the phone off while I do it. So it's just a good time. If you're curious about whether you can figure out how to ride one of these, hit me up. I mean, or where to look, how to get one, modifications. Leave a message in the comments. Shoot me an email, motogamingdad@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to help you. I mean, it's so worth it, and it's really not all that hard. I mean, there's things that you can get into if you want to get into some of the technical stuff and jumps, and that can get pretty tricky and a little bit sketchy at times. But if you just want to go out and ride and have a good time and get away from civilization, it's perfect, and I absolutely love it. So after all that said, I'm going to go ahead and get back to riding. Talking a lot less because I'm going to be focusing on where I'm driving to make sure I'm not coming up on some major down trees or sticks or logs or giant poles that are filled with mud. Because this area back here, there's a lot of mud trucks that come back here and they'll dig deep ruts. So you got to be a little careful, you got to pay attention. So while I'm riding, I'm not talking much. That's why. But I appreciate y'all joining in. Like I said, reach out if you need anything. I'm more than happy to talk and help you all out. But enjoy watching the ride. And before I forget, make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you like what you see. That's what allows me to keep making these videos, keep coming out here having fun, and hopefully keep entertaining you. See you later.